Support for this episode of the PowerCast comes from Mark Bell's Slingshot. Check out the all-new website at howmuchyoubench.net. Bench heavy with no pain with Mark Bell's Slingshot. thepowermagazine.com. Powerlifting apparel for people who lift heavy-ass weight from 8manstrong.com and bodybuilding.com. Bodybuilding.com is the world's #1 fitness website and supplement store. Bodybuilding.com also has free fitness plans for every fitness level. Visit bodybuilding.com today to become your best self. The mad scientist of powerlifting himself, Chris Duffin, returns for episode 148 of the PowerCast. Chris has made some dramatic changes to the course of his life since we last saw him. You're going to want to hear what he has to say about how he made the decision to walk away from a high-paying job to develop new products and content to help athletes move better and find their true potential. If you think about it, finding his true potential is what drove Chris to make these changes in the first place. Be sure to check out the whole episode because Chris makes a very special offer for PowerCast listeners. Do us a favor and hit the like button and share this episode and enjoy number 148.
Hey now. It's all professional. Live with Chris Duffin.
Recorded live at Super Training Gym in West Sacramento, California. This is Mark Bell's PowerCast.
Music's changed since the last time you were here, too.
Yeah. Here's your host, Mark Bell.
Something I drummed up in my basement.
I have a quick announcement. We got the awesome giveaway from our guys over at 8 Man Strong. Giving away a kick-ass care package. It's a backpack, 2 T-shirts, a hat, and a shaker. It's about $135 value.
Am I eligible?
Your guys. No.
Fuck.
No family members. What's that speech? No family members. No third cousins.
No shoes, no shirt, no service.
None of you guys are involved. All you guys got to do is go on Instagram, post a picture of you either squat, benching, or deadlifting, and then tag 8 Man Strong. That's at 8 Man Strong and at Mark Bell's PowerCast. Hashtag 8 Man Power, and you'll be entered to win the care package, guys. That's at 8 Man Strong, at Mark Bell's PowerCast. Hashtag 8 Man Strong Power. Picture of you guys squat, bench, or deadlifting, and we're live.
We're live. We're recorded live.
We're recorded live.
Jim pulled the old switcheroo on everybody.
Yeah.
The dumbest phrase ever.
Recorded live.
Well, because,
Can it be recorded delayed or recorded in time?
The only thing that's really a distinction is that we don't edit pieces of it together from
I guess that
other
makes
interviews.
sense.
We don't tell it like a Quentin Tarantino
Yeah,
story.
exactly. It's essentially we provide exactly what's recorded live.
Yeah. Related
So,
but unrelated.
For the most part.
Is there some sort of problem with this not happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does it raise our value?
We have lots of problems.
Yeah, so my problem this morning is
lots of
computers. I use technology like a motherfucker, but I don't know anything about it. And I was emailed from our tech people that something was wrong with my cookies.
We have tech people?
I think so.
Oh, my God.
No. Well, we have cookies. That's the real question.
No, I wish we had real
Those
cookies.
jazzy peanut butter cookies are pretty good.
I thought you guys were eating cookies.
Yeah,
we do
were.
have cookies in the other room if you need them.
It was really nice of you to sit there with the bag of cookies and
Your
eat them, by the
computer
way,
has cookies.
and not offer any to me.
I didn't eat any today. It was mostly Mark.
I didn't
But
notice.
according to the internet, we have mad bars, too. What does that mean?
Mad bars. That's a rap term.
Yeah, bars.
Mad bars.
Bars and cookies.
But what does cookies on my
Cookie
fucking
bars.
computer have to do with anything?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I do.
I think what it means is that you're watching too much pornography, Michael.
No, that's history. That's circle alt delete.
Unfortunately, I think that you're watching too much porn, and anything that you ever looked up can be traced.
Yeah, there you
Anything
go.
you ever done on the internet, you dirty son of a bitch.
I have heard
can
about.
be looked up.
Is it Max or whatever computer with the little webcam?
All right,
People
let's-
hack into you and see your
Oh
face.
my God!
Yeah.
That's great.
Watch yourself.
I did that to somebody at one point.
No way. What are you, Neo?
I didn't really hack in, but
Goddamn Matrix over
You
here.
either
going on.
hacked or you didn't hack. There's no kind of hacked.
no. I just told
Jim
him
is
he did
talking
hack.
about a federal offense over here on the podcast.
Who are those famous celebrities, nudies that went out? That was Jim McD, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
yeah.
No, I was online on Facebook with a guy and his girlfriend at the same time.
Wait, what?
Friends of ours.
Are you sure you should be telling this story?
Yeah,
What were you doing?
I'm 100% sure I should
This
tell
is why Jim doesn't talk that much on the podcast usually, because we never know what the hell's he's going to
So
talk
there's
about.
3 cameras, 2 gentlemen, 1 lady.
Yeah, no.
Not a lot of clothing.
No. There were actually no cameras on. That's the thing. But
Who he chose to tap into is really the most interesting part of this whole thing.
And that's why we got Chris Duffin.
well, our friend Brad Sakana, who at the time had a girlfriend that we knew. I don't know his
Going
current girlfriend.
downhill fast. We're picking
Exactly.
up speed.
She said something to me about him, like, being paranoid about the camera being on.
Yeah.
When as soon as like Facebook Messenger started being able to do
There's
video,
no way to get yourself out of this hole.
and I told him, and the camera's on. I told him I could see him, and she was telling me what he was doing, so I could make him believe.
Fuck with him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was excellent. It was one of the best practical jokes that
that's
I've
pretty
ever
good.
been involved in.
That's
so
pretty good.
Jim, that's disgusting.
And that's when he was fat too. Now he's a bodybuilder.
So we're here today with Chris Duffin, and Chris Duffin is known as the mad scientist. I don't know if he's a real scientist, but he's mad about something. Maybe science, perhaps,
Yeah,
or
is that
maybe he's.
angry or insane?
that's a good
Oh
question.
yeah,
Right,
like
right? 'Cause
mad, like mad, yeah, mad men.
or like angry. A little bit of both.
Probably a little bit.
He
Fair.
looks happy.
Fair. Yeah, I agree.
He's always smiling. He doesn't look that, but
I agree.
people that are insane tend to smile a lot too. People that have plans to bury you, light you on fire, they have a smile on their face too. Well,
No fire involved.
Oh, all right.
But bearing.
Maybe.
so we had a problem out front. We have a new ST sign out front, and a bird somehow shit on it, but it like seems like
There's a large overhang over our glass wall or window.
we figured you could help us out with this,
Yeah,
Mr.
it's-
Mad Scientist
It's
Pants.
the ceiling is approximately 20 feet high, and the window is approximately 4 feet back. So how did the bird velocity shit onto the window?
Well, the birds are flying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Okay. We're listening.
And the
Okay.
shit is flying with
And
them.
the shit
Write
is
that- you got a
flying with
pen?
them, so when it's released, it still has that same.
But they're-
approximately how fast is this bird going?
But if the bird is flying parallel to the wall, how did he curveball the shit into the wall?
He wouldn't be able.
Yeah.
He has to be flying the right direction.
Maybe he did a U-turn.
Oh, so you're saying he flew over the building
Yes.
and shit, and it was just perfectly timed and perfect velocity to
Oh, like
splatter
a
our wall.
bomber.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it now.
Yep.
You are
Yep.
you are a scientist.
And maybe it's not as perfect as we think. Maybe he meant to get it right smack dab in the middle of the ST, and it's lower than that.
Or one of our heads on the wall cam.
That's a good possibility.
All right, I'm with it.
Another possibility is that the bird hit the window and shit on it. And
I wonder
That
how.
is possible.
yeah.
I wonder how long he had to like hold it and like release it to get it exactly where he got it to.
What's they say
Not yet.
flies?
Not
flies
yet.
every time they sit on you or something. They're either like pooping or having babies or something.
Flies sit on you?
I've heard that somewhere. I don't know.
No
National
no
Geographic.
flies on me. Okay.
You've never heard any of that?
No fly zone. Google it.
Yeah, Google. I
Let's go-
swear.
let's go.
I swear I read that somewhere.
They're having babies or they're shitting on you?
Yeah, I heard that's the only like reason flies land.
I'm either trying to make babies or take a shit.
See,
So-
you're maybe a fly.
Apparently, this is a common question. What are flies doing when they land on you?
Oh no, our
Oh,
screen's
no.
not up. No,
I don't know
shit.
what happened.
I don't know.
Our HDMI 3 cable.
God
Chris?
damn it! It's next to our
Science?
cookies.
Can you fix it with
working
science?
earlier.
No help here.
Damn it.
It's next to our cookies.
You were pretty useful with the bird situation.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was good.
Thank you.
There we
Appreciate
go.
you clearing that
See
up.
what happens when a fly lands on you? Shits on you. See, they vomit or poop every time they land on
Oh my
you.
God.
I'm a genius.
How come we haven't eradicated flies from the fucking earth? What is wrong with us?
Yeah, I
That's
don't know
disgusting.
where they fit in.
Well,
They don't fit in anywhere, apparently, if they're shitting all over you.
well, you know they're
Throwing up.
trying to decide if they should get rid of mosquitoes altogether.
I agree.
Like,
Zika.
do mosquitoes actually contribute anything to the ecosystem? And if they don't,
Kill
why
them.
can't we just get
They
rid of all of
transport
them?
my trend.
Because because there's so much money lost in like malaria and now Zika virus and dengue fever and all that shit.
Zika
especially
sounds scary.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Sounds
sounds
very scary.
terrible.
The news is so terrifying. I'm never watching the news again.
What happened to so-and-so? He's got the Zika
Did
virus.
you just turn paralyzed for no reason?
I think so. He just seize up.
No,
That's what I heard with guys. If a guy can get it and you have the right whatever,
it's
you'll just fucking get paralyzed.
shit. What is it called?
Sexually transmitted also, which is fucking
It's
weird.
sexually transmitted. What's
You get bit by a mosquito, you go have sex, and then everybody's got goddamn Zika.
God damn it! What is it that people get? Is I'm gonna have to look it up. Hold on.
I'm sweating. Are you guys sweating these cookie conversations and
I turned
physics?
the air conditioner on.
Dying.
I didn't know I was gonna have to bone up on the news before I showed up.
Yeah. This is now a pop culture show.
I'm gonna have to go grab my phone so I can do some research while we're.
You have any pets, Chris?
I do have pets.
Okay. I was watching the news the other day, and they were talking about cloning pets, and I was just like, "This is the most ridiculous thing in the world." Like, we have, access to all kinds of. Well, I don't really like animals that much,
but our shelters, our animal shelters, are flooded with animals.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, and there's like commercials and shit. Like, please help. Blah blah blah.
Those
whatever.
commercials are pretty sad. When Celine Dion comes on, I
Yeah.
have to turn them. They're sad. I cry.
Now Celine Dion's going to come and tell us about the cloned fucking extra dogs that we have all over the place. The dog with 3 asses and the dog with 7 legs and whatever else is going on.
Okay.
Can't we try to clone other things?
Like a human?
I don't know, like a hand or something. If somebody's missing a hand or somebody's
Is that where
missing a
stem
foot?
cells is going?
I don't know. I don't know the difference. Do you know anything about any of this?
I know nothing.
You know nothing about nothing. But you were in China at one point, weren't you?
What was that?
Yeah, there are a lot of things go down in China. I saw pictures of him. He's in some plant. He's got to be figuring some of this shit out. Right?
Did you go to China like how Kobe went to China, you know?
I thought he
all
went
the-
to Germany.
Oh, I thought maybe it was both.
No, I
Maybe,
heard
don't know.
stem cells the big deal is in Germany.
Yeah, I think
that's what
so.
I heard. Because Mark Cuban's funding some research over there.
Yeah. As well he should.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, he's in some giant factory, and he says he can't talk about it, but he's in China.
No, that was Japan.
Oh, Japan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that less sketchy?
No, I think he found out about these clones. And he's not telling us. I think he knew about it in advance. He could have prevented
It's possible.
it. Jesus Christ.
Okay, back to Mikey's question.
Yeah.
Yes, they poop and vomit on you. No, not every single time.
That's gross.
And it's Guillain-Barré syndrome that you're talking about that makes people paralyzed.
That sounds French.
Yeah. It sounds like it was discovered by a French
It does.
person.
It sounds like a French dessert, but you're actually just getting paralyzed.
It takes
You're
the
just getting.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. Zika virus sounds a lot worse.
it
Yeah.
attacks the nerve lining so that the nerve signals jump across nerves instead of going straight through like they're supposed to.
World War Z? I think
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the Zika virus.
Yeah, in that movie.
I think it was called the Zika virus.
I thought it was just because it was zombies.
It is zombies, but it's called Zika, I think.
Really?
I almost guarantee it.
Oh my god.
More research, Jim.
Jesus Christ! I can't get off the fucking computer.
More research.
Goddamn
So what's
Brad
been going
Pitt.
on with Mr. Chris Duffin lately? What you been up to?
Well,
How much you bench? Now, what you been up to?
since last time I was on quite a bit, so ended up deciding to walk away from my career and chase trying to make the world better through strength. So
There you go.
I
Cool.
think that's a good thing.
It was the first step. The Duffalo bar, was that kind of the first?
No, it was the shoulder rock actually.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
Just releasing that right about the time I came on last year.
Let's backtrack a little bit. You've been like inventing and coming up with your own contraptions for years.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
when I
yeah.
first went up to your gym and when we first fell in love, let's just call it what it is, Chris. Huh?
I remember.
Yeah. When we first met, you had all kinds of different contraptions in your gym. You were already kind of playing around with a bunch of different things. I remember you had like a jack on one of your benches to move the hooks up and down very easily.
God, I had that back then too, didn't I?
Yeah, he had
Like an ER rack with
I still haven't
mono
released
pump?
that one. No,
Not
it's
even
just you just press a button and the bar moves up and down on the bench, so you don't have to.
So like
He almost had like a
electric
drill
mono?
or something to it or something.
Oh yeah, no, that was the early version.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had like hooked up to like a drill bit and just go and it just go up and down.
Yeah, now there's just a button you press.
That's pretty
And he's
dope.
like, where do you want it? 4, 3?
Yeah.
Where do you
Because a
want it?
monolift, like everyone asks why we squat out of a monolift, even though like I walk out my squats, Mark walks them out sometimes, but like it's just convenient so we
Yeah,
can
we
get
got
our right
guys that are
height.
6'5", 6'3",
Yeah.
5'10", 5'8".
Yeah, that would help.
And then you also had the super lift at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically just a monolift that you could put together and take apart without really any tools, which that's pretty fucking amazing. And then it was not only just a regular monolift, but you can adjust it and you can bench out of it and a bunch of other things, right?
Oh yeah, you could do floor presses. You could do the arms extend on it.
Right.
You could take the bar anywhere from the floor to 8 foot up in the air, and you could run it forward, reverse, put the bar on either side of it. It's still
Have you always been kind of inventing and creating things like from the time you were a kid, or how did some of that start?
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of Legos.
Yeah.
So
So you're into it like at just a really young age, and I know you're into cars and things like that too. You just kind of got into it at a really young age, or
yeah, I mean it's been in my career has been on that side too. With process improvement, manufacturing. Just
Right.
that's just
Right.
always been what I've done. And yeah, everything that we brought to market has all been stuff that basically we developed in the gym.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like these are tried and true things, not
yeah.
And you're talking about stuff that will actually probably be future projects that we release, but we've had around for a long time.
Yeah.
But
and it's hard. It's hard to get you have stuff like in the queue. You have stuff in like a lineup.
Yep.
And there's probably like 30 things, and there's things that you can get to earlier because things are simpler. Like some of the products you just shipped to us recently. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Like there's some things that are probably fairly simple to get going, and then there's some shit that's like, oh man, like that's going to take some time. I got to really make sure everything's just right.
It's making sure it fits, fits who the company that we're trying to develop. I mean, it's very much we're focused on movement and safety. So I could make a better collar. Well, there's lots of good collars out there. Why would I don't want to make things just to sell it, just to make money. It needs to be something that's adding value and
something that's different.
That fits, who we are. We're not going to be, in anything and everything company. But yeah, I've always been a tinkerer or perfectionist. Like I think things that could be, things can be better. And that's, you see it in the way that I coach and help people from a movement perspective.
Right.
And
a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I remember you were showing me and Mike how to warm up for deadlifts and stuff. You had like 3 or 4 things you put us through, and it wasn't like, hey, just try the stretch. You had like really specific ways of actually going through those movements, and very specific ways on how to deadlift and squat, and how to have your feet, how to have your hands, and it was very detailed.
Yeah, and it continues to grow. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, since I've been focusing on this full time, I mean, I've been in front of rooms of 150 doctors lecturing on. I get invited to colleges. My materials used.
I saw one of the things you did where you're talking about bench, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You were just trying to, basically say like the bench is kind of a dangerous movement, but it's what we're asked to do, and it's a good movement in a lot of ways. And I preach something similar all the time because it is a funky movement. You're laying down. Your back is always going to kind of be overextended in some ways. Can be very stressful on the shoulders, but you got to figure out a way to actually do the movement because it's a good movement.
Well, that's actually a really good discussion because it's something that it's counter to. I deal with a lot of movement professionals, people in physical therapy, a lot of educated on human movement, and very much people think that you should be doing a functional bench press, something that's better for your shoulders.
Push-up maybe?
Is to be flat-backed. And I'm saying, no, you're actually wrong.
Right.
From a postural standpoint, that is correct. But if you actually start putting some physics and look at the force vectors, you don't have control of the shoulder.
Right.
When you're laying flat on the bench. The weight actually is coming straight down the arms, right into the scapula, right into the bench. And the bad thing about that is
it's really just a flawed movement, period.
Now you don't have it connected to the core.
Right.
So what we want to do is actually arch up, which is bad from a postural standpoint because we're not necessarily getting in if you think about an athletic position where you're transferring power, if you're throwing, you're punching, all these things, you have a very neutral, rigid.
Yeah, you don't want to arch up.
But you're not
exactly.
But your back's not against something.
But your back's not against something. Exactly. So that's where things change. And so to actually get the shoulder connected to the to the core,
right,
and gain control, because if you don't have control and have that connection, what happens is you lose the shoulder into internal rotation, and that's where you get your pec tear, you get your AC joint issue, you get your rotator cuff tear. All those injuries that we have in related to benching, nearly all of them can be fixed by gaining good control of that shoulder and keeping the centration. And so if we arch, we stretch what's called that frontal oblique sling. And
where's that?
It's on the front of your body.
There you go.
So, but it connects the hips to the shoulders, basically.
Gotcha.
So basically that whole front, there's a rear oblique sling and a front oblique sling.
Gotcha.
And so if we stretch that out, we actually load that. And then if you've got good rooting to the floor, but basically driving with the feet, and we've got the glutes engaged, you'll gain good connection and control of the shoulder.
So a lot of these things came to be from powerlifting, sort of through trial and error, I would say, by a lot of lifters over the years. But what's interesting to me, what I always found interesting about the bench press is it's just kind of a flawed movement in general. You kind of think about the different movements that we're asked to do in a given day. There's plenty of times where you bend at the hip. There's plenty of times where you hinge at the hip and you deadlift stuff. There's plenty of times where you're going to probably squat down and pick things up as well.
Take a poop.
Bench press is a really weird one. You're laying down on a piece of equipment, whereas with the squat, there's not really a piece of equipment involved other than a bar just to give you some sort of weight. And same thing with the deadlift. You're just literally picking the weight up off the ground. Those are two movements that you can do without any any piece of equipment. The bench press, you actually need the bench press to lay down on the bench press, and I think because of that, it's a flawed exercise, and that it puts so much stress on your shoulders and your lower back. You're in a weird compromised position, and what sounds like you're saying is, we're already in a weird compromised position. Let's get some more stability out of it. Let's try to figure out a way to still do the movement.
And if you understand that, then you can focus on the things to reduce those stressors. Like you said, a lot of stress in the low back. Well, we can do things to eliminate stress risers on that area of the spine. We can continue to improve the centration of the shoulder. There's lots of things from the coaching cueing standpoint that we can improve these factors. But as long as you understand that, yes, this is an okay position, we can move forward.
I think it's a very common topic. Like you said people compare punching or throwing to benching or the natural movement or function, if you want to use that word. I don't really like that word, but it's so different because the load's different. It's a straight barbell, like Mark said, which is an implement that's totally different than throwing a baseball or throwing nothing if you're throwing a punch. And so it just makes no sense how people want to connect all these lines when those lines just aren't there.
People also gripe about hypertrophy and like, oh, well, it's better if I'm flat backed and whatever. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, do that for 20 years with heavy load, and let me know how your hypertrophy is going about year 10. When my shoulders, I'm sorry.
Well, you also handle more weight.
This sport, exactly. But this sport is not NASCAR. It does not happen at 200 miles an hour, right? I mean, this is something that. How long you been training, Mark?
Yeah, so that was 12, 39.
Jim?
Since I was 13 or 14, off and on.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out how to do it in a manner that's not gonna hurt you in the long run.
Well, there's other factors involved too, like exercise selection, depending on your goals, and then obviously like managing volume and periodization. Right. I mean, it's not just the exercise, and it's not just technique. It's all it's big picture. That's where everyone says, "Hey, man, like my back hurts, so after I deadlift." Well, yeah, one, maybe your form's shit. Two, maybe you're deadlifting too much too often. There's so many factors that can get involved with injury.
I don't remember my back ever hurting.
If you're talking hypertrophy, I mean, what are you talking about hypertrophy of? Because if we're doing a proper bench press, we've got so much more, of the body actually involved in the lift and engaged. Like, there's a lot of power lifters that's all they do is squat, bench, and deadlift. That's it. Yeah, and they look great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's YouTube commenters get a lot of that because it's like if anyone benches with any kind of an arch on YouTube, then they're cheating. And like, well, I'm a bodybuilder, so I need to do hypertrophy movements. And it's like,
I've got several bodybuilder clients.
Yeah.
that I'm helping rehab pec tears, and that's where they're coming from. And that's why I get
yeah, exactly.
What would you say about, like, some coaches have gone as far, like I think I mentioned earlier, the bench press is kind of dangerous in some ways. All the movements can be dangerous, but the bench press is just a weird one. You have both your arms pinned back behind your body with excessive amounts of weights. It's not a movement that we normally need to do any time in our lives.
But it is a bench press.
It is a bench press.
And so we love it.
And we love to be fucking jacked. But due to that
fact,
some coaches have kind of recognized, it can be dangerous, and so they'll have their athletes do like limited range of motion. They'll have them go like halfway down. Or what do you think about some of those types of things?
I think that they're covering up the issue. It's not going to fix it. So if you're going halfway down and you still don't have control of that shoulder, you're still at risk of injury. So if you don't believe in the bench press in general, you could go other routes. So we could do.
That's a good point. There's a lot of exercises to choose from.
There's tons of stuff you could
choose
from.
Floor, dumbbell, overhead.
Floor press is still in the same category.
But even with range, you think? Because triceps aren't going to, or elbows aren't going to
travel too far.
Yeah, they're not going to travel
behind the body.
They're breaking the plane.
But if we're talking about the issues that can lead to the injury standpoint, they're still the same thing. You're laying on a floor, same as laying on a bench,
jamming your shoulder.
So same issues with control of the shoulder.
It does take the lower back out of it,
but
that would be
you could go into a standing position with cables. You could actually put half your body off the bench press with a dumbbell. Mm-hmm. So if you do that,
like a bridge,
you're just one leg off, 1 foot off. And half your body hanging on the bench, you can do that. And that becomes, all of a sudden, the core has to engage because you're driving to control. You've got to be supporting yourself. So you're supporting yourself on the floor all the way through to that shoulder. That's so there's lots of ways around it. But I still say, if you learn to do the bench press properly, it's really not a dangerous
Then you're
activity.
okay. Yeah.
Is it perfectly optimal to transfer to an athleticism standpoint? Not really,
Probably
but
highly
it is
debatable.
still highly transferable. I mean, I'm working with a lot of throwers these days, and there's a lot of shot putters and discus throwers and stuff that they bench,
Yeah.
and they, an improvement in their bench does net an improvement in those activities.
I would say it's all very debatable, like whether a squat really transfers over to like a fullback hitting the hole faster in the NFL or something.
Yep.
Like what transfers over best is genetics. Somebody just being
does.
gifted to be able to do the task always transfers over.
One
the
of the S&C coaches that I help, 95% of his clientele is pro baseball players, and he teaches the bench press in the manner that I taught him to bench press.
Cool.
And he has seen great results with his clients.
That's great.
With doing that. So
Right.
so I say it does, but you've got to understand all the systems. And
It's
how
pretty
to-
cool. I think people are coming around.
yeah.
People are starting to understand the value of powerlifting
Yep.
and the value of strength, and it's cool that you get to talk to those doctors like that.
Yeah, like Jim mentioned, even bodybuilders. I see more and more bodybuilders that are basing their entire program around squat, bench, and deadlift.
Yeah, there's some controversy obviously online about everything, but one of them I saw just yesterday was people saying if bodybuilders think that doing powerlifting in the off season is actually going to help them, then they're sadly mistaken. And I didn't really see the logic behind that, and everybody hates on something. But like, what's the like if that were going to be true, what would be the issue? The fact that they're putting on extra body weight, or that the musculature is developing differently? I don't know.
I think it's a very old thing that people think rep ranges or exercise selection molds your muscle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you grow or you don't grow.
Yeah.
I think some bodybuilders might also be concerned with the size of like your waist, right? Like that's kind of, I know it's an old thing,
Yeah.
but I think it's still around. People still talk in those senses.
And that's pretty genetic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is.
I'd agree.
That's what I
I'd
mean,
agree.
like peak your muscle. Like
Yeah.
a curl's a curl. Like you
Right.
can't really work like peak.
Yeah, big squatters have big wide waists, but also look at big squatters. They usually have big wide feet too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What came first? Probably that they were built for squatting big.
Egg cones 13 and a half.
Yeah, they started
Whatever it is.
squatting and they realized they were a little ahead of everybody else and they felt good about it, so they continued, right?
Exactly.
They found out that they were good at something.
A quick word from our sponsors. 8 Man Strong began with two brothers who had a simple idea to encourage strength in this world. To bring back to life the grit found only in the generations of the past. While the brand has evolved since its founding, its core values remain unchanged. We here like to promote strength, will, determination, and fight in people, to celebrate the strong and to inspire those that need. This is what it means to put on an 8-man brand. So wherever you find yourself today on our personal journey towards strength, we encourage you to always move forward despite any obstacles, and we hope you will do it wearing 8-man. Head over to 8manstrong.com today and get your apparel for people who lift heavy-ass weights. Bodybuilding.com has got you covered with brand new training articles and routines. These are free methods and protocols will step up your training and physique to the next level, with world-class trainers and athletes leading the way to get your strength to its optimal potential. Also, make sure you check out Bodybuilding.com's low prices on protein, vitamins, aminos, and other supplementation. Major brands are all available, as well as Bodybuilding.com's own platinum supplement line. And don't forget about Bodybuilding.com's fast shipping and handling. They want to get you your products you need as fast as possible so you can start or continue your fitness goals. Head over to Bodybuilding.com today.
Let's get back to the career change a little bit. What kind of gave you the confidence to just kind of switch gears?
It's something I've been thinking about for many, many years. I mean, I've been wanting to go down that path, and I was contemplating going back to school to get a doctorate degree, but it was just so much education involved with doing that, because I'm highly educated, but it's all engineering, business related, and so I was going to have to start back to ground zero.
Physical therapy type thing, or
Either physical therapy, chiropractic, something along those lines is what I was debating. But when I started looking at it, just didn't make sense. And you were a big part of the decision too. So it was around that time I'm like, I have to make the move.
I remember giving you the speech. I was driving to the gym just now, and I actually recall where we were in the car when I started talking to you about it. Because I was like, look, motherfucker, you're a goddamn world record holder. You figured out how to squat over 900 pounds in a 220-pound weight class. I'm like, you can fucking do anything. And you just kind of sat there and just like, you're like, he's fucking right. I can kind of hear it almost without you saying anything. Like, this fucking big idiot is right. I got to get off my ass and get moving.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you said specific. I think it was you've got the most valuable thing out there, which is the knowledge.
Right.
And and so that was. It wasn't shortly
That's what it
after
is,
that I left, but I was definitely on a path. I had to make a change. It's
right.
like it wasn't. I've been doing that for 18 years, and I had.
I swear that you came down here so that he could talk you into
pretty much.
making a move. I think that's what
pretty
it
much.
was.
That's
That
pretty
was
much what it was. Yeah.
Did you go into the office?
That's
and,
a decision by itself.
And take a shit in the middle of the floor and then leave? That's the way I envision it.
And then
I'm out of here.
I was talking to at the same time I was talking to another mentor of mine who's a doctor, and I'm like, okay, I think it's time. I've got to have something behind me to back up my credibility to speak to this stuff. And he's like, I'm thinking about going back to school to just to have the degrees, to say, Chris Duffin, doctor, right?
Dr. Duffin.
And Dr. Duffin.
Nice ring.
Dr. Duffin, exactly. And he's like, what are you thinking? He's like, that just doesn't make any sense. He's like, you've got the resources, you can go to like the best people in the world and call them up and say, hey, I want to spend some time together and learn from the people that are writing the books.
Yeah.
And most of what you're going to sit there, and 98% of the stuff that you're going to learn in school you're going to know is outdated. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get pissed off, and you're going to spend all this time to learn like a very small amount. And what if you spent like an eighth of that time? This is the exact word. An eighth of that time and money, and actually went to the people creating the content.
Right.
And I'm like, oh. And he's like, if you didn't care about having those, those initials behind your name. And I'm like, shit, you're right. I'd be light years ahead.
People
and
learn
that's what I
things
did.
before degrees.
So
well, and we have the internet now. So you film stuff, and you're associating with this person and that person. You speak well enough to where people are going to say, yeah, he does know I'm going to try that. He does know what he's talking about. He is a good resource. I'm going to go to his seminar. I'm going to go to this and that. So it makes sense.
I sell a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. What are you doing with some different seminars and stuff now?
So I'm just doing 4 seminars a year. So there's a system to what I do. It's very systematic, and so we do 4 seminars a year, and we'll certify.
Who's
people.
we?
Me and my team of coaches.
Okay,
so
cool.
it's not
not just you. Okay.
Yeah, it's what I do is very hands-on. So we have to have a team of people that go in. So these are people that have worked with me for a lot of time. They know the approach. They know the methods. This is the stuff that we've been doing in our facility for a long time.
Yeah.
And so it's a 2-day, very intensive, hands-on. We're breaking out into groups. You're actually learning to coach and being evaluated as a coach in the process. And that's why we have, like I say, because it's, we're working the room. It's not me standing up in front of everybody.
It'd be too hard.
And,
It'd be too hard to get that many people.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then we've got an online movement portal, kabuki.ms.
An online movement portal.
That's next to
right,
my
baby.
cookies, I think.
That sounds amazing. Sounds like a fucking time warp. I want to go through a portal.
Mike, you need to write this down.
Yeah, I'm so confused.
www.kabuki.ms
.ms
for movement systems.
I've never even heard of that. Did you just make that up?
Yeah, it's movement systems, man.
You just said fuck the com?
That's right.
You could do anything.
It might be like Madagascar or something like
probably
that.
Is.
I think it is, but
No,
whatever.
No way Madagascar is the internet.
I think it sounds
good.
pretty cool.
That
so.
sounds amazing. A portal sounds good too. Movement portal.
I would imagine you'd be better off if you went through a portal. I just would think you would be better.
Better
Be
than
better
a
than
com.
you were before.
So that's like our online resource for people. It's kind of like a self-help website. I think Jim and I were talking about it earlier, or I was talking about with one of your other Willie about it. He was comparing it to Kelly's MWAD site, but
Right.
very similar, except ours is focused. It's like almost complementary. This is movement. This is fixing.
Right.
It's not mobility, but it's how do we move correct? Under load. And so it's very extensive, and it's pretty similar in scope. But we've got guided tutorials. Like this is how you, like we filmed last year. We filmed the how to squat video with Mike. That was a very simple piece.
Yeah.
The guided tutorial is a video chapterized. Like, oh, and if you've got something wrong, this is where you go. This is how you can fix an issue with the hip, with the knee, with the foot, with the, and it kind of breaks down. And how do you walk through that process?
Every joint in your body's involved in a squat.
Exactly.
Right?
Or you could just look in.
That's why it's so damn hard.
You could go look. Oh, well, we've got a problem with glutes, so you can search for glutes. You could break it down into glute rehab,
Break down those glutes.
glute And I
That's
know
where
you
I'm
were-
heading.
You
Dot
grabbed,
MS glutes.
you grabbed my glute earlier.
Hey,
It
we're not
was-
supposed to talk about that. It's supposed to be private.
As
but
long
you
as
can
just
you
stick a
can look
finger
at
in your
it.
portal.
You
Yeah.
can look at it a whole bunch of different ways, and like just search through the videos, and it's got a private forum and all that other stuff. So it's that's kind of our, we reach everybody that way. So it's real simple, $10 a month, and incredible. I spent a year with a team putting this thing together,
Right.
and it's a purpose-built website for it. And then so we do the seminars to kind of support that to people that want to take that to the next level and actually be, coaching in themselves or getting a hands-on. And when we do the seminars, it's pretty cool because it's like usually about a third of the room is actual, physical therapists, chiropractors.
That's really
We
cool.
always have people like, somebody that's flown in from like Singapore or Germany or wherever for it too.
That's
So
really
it's
cool. Is powerlifting still like a centerpiece of the whole thing?
so powerlifting is our basis for how we look at it. So we use those 3 movements to teach you how to assess and know what's going on with the body and how to correct it and fix it under load.
Mm-hmm.
So because to me, load is important. People really miss this point. They're like, they want to spend all day. We have a lot of corrective movements and stuff like that, and but you find people, they go into the gym and they spend like 45 minutes of doing like these really cool correctives or stretches and mobility work, and they never train.
Yeah, they still squat like shit.
Well, like if
Well,
some,
we missed the big point. How do you grow and adapt as a human being? Physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. This is how we work, is you apply a stress and then you grow, and then you have to apply more of a stress. And if you put too much stresses on you, you overtrain, right?
Yeah.
You break down. So it's a matter of balancing that. But the simple fact is, sitting there with, rolling around and doing stuff is applying no additional stress. You have to add load.
goddamn
you have
foam
to
roller,
teach.
piece of shit.
Exactly.
Light those things on fire.
That's right. Let's burn some. Let's have a foam roll party. Remember, put on your gas.
We'll get real high.
In California, I'm sure we'll get
But
people
this
with
is
it.
this is the thing that people miss, is that actually the most, the best way to bring about change to the body and then actually recover, rehab, make change. The only way to bring about actually modification to the body is to add load. That's right.
You need a little bit of change, right?
So you can do it anyway, but we stick with the powerlifting. That's what we know. That's what we do. We'll probably expand into other ways. But if I watch a squat, I could tell you almost everything about Mike here. If I watched a squat, so Mike, you
know my history.
Here's what's going on here. But I can tell that we've got a shoulder mobility issue. Hey, this right oblique isn't fire. Is soft. This glute isn't firing. Like all this is evident. And for the most part, we're going to teach you how to fix it in the squat.
Right.
If not, then here's what we would do from a homework standpoint to actually teach the postural awareness,
Right.
or practice on firing, or so we use those. But everything again is driven back to, I don't want you stinking rolling around for a month and not squatting.
No. Yeah, why did you go to the gym in the first place?
Right. So
somebody will say, my knees are coming in on a squat or something, and I think it's because my piriformis is tight. Well, it's like, no,
So
okay, maybe, but you just handled 95% of your max, and
we want to deal with that. So we don't
sometimes
want
some shit happens,
We
right?
don't want those knees coming in while they're squatting. So we're going to do everything that we can to cue that. Understand why that's happening.
Right.
So that's part of this. Our movement portal.
Right.
Late night talk host.
Yeah.
Getting sexual in there.
But it's to fix that, and then maybe here's some homework and things to reinforce those patterns so that they come into the gym next time it's loading. I mean,
I'm sure it's probably kind of complicated, but if somebody's doing a squat and let's say they have 50% of their max on the bar, and you see their knees slightly come in, and you see maybe their knees are even looping inward as they're going downward, is it easier to kind of say, like, maybe that's not just necessarily a weakness, maybe that actually is a mobility thing? Their knees are kind of caving in, and maybe their heel is coming up off the ground a little bit with the lighter weights, and then with somebody who does it with a heavier weight, maybe it actually is more of a weakness somewhere, or is it a little bit more complex than that?
A little bit more complex than that. I mean, we like to see. This is one reason we really like to add load, because some of the stuff that I teach, I'm using a lot of clinical evidence-based stuff, and so I may be teaching somebody that's more of an expert than me in it to begin with.
Right.
But they'll never actually realize that they're not actually doing what they're actually teaching or preaching in the
Right.
first place until I say, let's deadlift.
Right.
95% of your max. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this. You're not doing.
Your entire
and then the
body
light
fell
bulb will
apart.
go on,
Yeah.
and I can actually teach them to do that appropriately.
Right.
So that's not the question that you just had.
Right.
But one of the things, like with the knees caving in, I see so much focus on like this peripheral, like, oh, the knees are in, let's fix it by putting the knees out. You've got to understand the underlying issue of why the knees are in and fix that. You can make it look right, but not actually fix what's going on. And if you don't fix what's going on from an underlying issue, you still have heightened risk of injury, and all the guys that are, younger are like, oh yeah, whatever. You're leaving performance on the table.
Yeah.
You're not
maybe
lifting as much as possible.
Maybe even more heightened risk of injury because you're just doing something differently than the way you normally do it.
You're just making it look like a squat should look, right? And so I call that coaching the peripheral, and you see this all the time. Like, knees out, butt back, like all these, like, let's get everything to where it's supposed to look like. But you're not actually making the body work the way that it's supposed to. And if you do that, everything just happens.
Right. Everything just kind of falls into place a little easier.
I can teach somebody to squat and never even mention where knee position should be.
Right.
And have them squat for the first time, and their knees will be in the perfect position.
Right. Are the knees caving in even a big issue? Some people have kind of said, like, it's not even a thing. Like, who gives a fuck about it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. The knees coming in, like, kind of excessively coming inside the foot.
Yep.
Can people
it should be in line between, the knee and the hip.
Can people throw their knees out too far?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've seen that
same
a
issue.
lot.
It's common.
And that's what we see with people, like, focusing on the knee position itself.
Yeah, they're not like
They're just
torque
trying
in their hip.
They're just trying to move the knee out.
Yeah.
And
But if you don't
getting
find
in a
torque in
position.
your hip,
Yep.
you're doing nothing.
And there's a lot of things that are going wrong when that happens.
Right.
A lot of things.
What are some simple fixes that you've seen with just kind of some of the people that you're running into at these seminars who maybe aren't power lifters? Some of these people that are maybe just starting to get into it, you're starting to share some powerlifting with them, and maybe their butt shoots up every time they come out of the bottom of a squat or deadlift. Like, do you have kind of easy fixes for some of that, or is it kind of a whole comprehensive thing of like stretching, movement, strength? Is it kind of a big plan to get them headed in the right direction?
So if we're talking squatting, for example, or deadlifting, two of the easiest things to take care of are stabilizing the core, which we kind of dealt a little bit with that with Mike last year, and then connection to the floor. So if we root to the floor properly, and we've obviously got videos and all this stuff on our kabuki.ms. But
hey now.
But if we take care of those two things, like most of the other stuff will take care of itself.
And those things, when you're talking about coaching peripheral, are, hey, get tight, right? But what the fuck does get tight mean?
What does get tight mean?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
There's a little bit of a sequence to teaching, and usually it takes like about 15 minutes to kind of walk through somebody those principles. But we want them, have people understanding what core stabilization is.
Right.
So core stabilization is a really simple concept. I mean, it's but a lot of people get it wrong. They think, oh, you mean sucking in a bunch of air into my belly, right? No, air does not create stability. So yes, the diaphragm is engaged, and we're using a little bit of air, but it's not this big belly full of air. Right. We don't want to do like this yoga breathing where we've got this big belly sticking out and we've got a bunch of air, and you see a lot of people do that. They just suck in this huge amount of air and go, look, I've got this massively stabilized core, Duffin, and just what you've been talking about. That's not the case. So what we need it's a balance of two things. So it's, one, using the diaphragm to create the intra-abdominal pressure, but you can't create pressure unless you've got the outer sheath of the abdominal wall also engaged.
Well, these words are very sexual.
Yes. Well, think about it. Was it back in the day, strongmen used to, maybe they still do, like blow up a hot water balloon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That balloon is very tight and restrictive, and blowing in it takes a lot of pressure, right? Way different than having your kids blow up a little air balloon, right? So that's the difference. I mean, you want that big, rigid, hot water balloon surrounding. So the other is understanding it's 360 degrees around. So the diaphragm is a cone that shapes downward. And so as it drives down like a piston, it's going to push out pressure all the way around.
Right.
So it should be coming out through the back. You should have the obliques inflated. And then posture is a really big, important thing. So we see a lot of people, especially males, with a flared rib cage, going
chest
up.
way up,
Yep.
which is another cue.
Exactly. So,
but an incorrect or misunderstood cue.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that we've got basically the diaphragm, which is
What's a flared rib cage? What's that mean?
flared rib cage. It's
Like
raising your chest. walking around with a big chest.
They're doing a bench posture for squat or deadlift.
Or let's say a woman with a boob job wanting to show it off, right? Right
Sounds
there,
terrible.
right? So, but that position,
Right.
So we have to have a neutral position with the spine, and so the diaphragm is basically connected kind of off the base of the rib cage there, and it has to be focused directly down. So if you have that raised chest position, the diaphragm's pointed more towards the front. So when it tries to create pressure, it's not going to go all the way around. It's going to shoot out the front of your stomach again, right? So you've got to get it located down. It does not mean crunching. A lot of people think that they go, "Oh, Duffin says crunching," and they're trying to crunch and drive it down, and you're crunch. It absolutely is not crunching. And then the other is making sure that the pelvis. So if you've got tilt of the pelvis, you've got to learn to control that. So you've got posture is really important. Then from there, it's creating the pressure. On the foot, we do some really cool things with the foot to make sure that we're engaging. So the foot can control a lot of things on and off through the legs and the hip and control.
You have
that.
equal pressure kind of throughout your foot or something like that.
Yeah. So it's fairly in depth. It's really easy to coach.
Yeah.
It's really hard to kind of talk through,
right?
Because it is a very visual.
I've noticed
piece,
in this gym, with the ability to the amount of space that we have, we're able to walk behind lifters as they're squatting, which in some of our other gyms, the racks were too close to the wall and you couldn't really get behind anybody except for just a spot, but you couldn't really see their feet. And I noticed a lot of people's feet will kind of sandwich in on their instep of their foot, and the outer heel, will pop up a little bit. It seems to be pretty
you have
common.
that, or you have Mike brought up the person, or maybe it was Jim there, the person over cueing the knees out,
right.
And what you'll see is the inside of the foot is rolling up.
Right.
Or you're the person that's so focused on sitting back that the front of their toes are picking up, or the front of their foot's
Yeah, that's
picking
really
up.
common too.
So all those are telling you that there's things not happening right in the body.
And you're trying to basically just have as much of your foot on the ground as possible?
Not necessarily. So I'll talk through it really quick. So there's the very simple method, which is the one I went through with Mike last year, which is the tri-point.
You're trying to claw the ground.
Trying to claw the ground and then twist it up, right? The only thing is it's really hard to think about that and visualize that and actually do it during the lift.
Right.
So our more advanced method for doing that is you want to take the base of the big toe, right, where it connects to the foot, and move just between that and the toe next to it. And we want to drive that area. We want to push that area to the ground. At the same time, you go to
Trying it now?
Yep. So
the toe is correct.
So at the same time that you're doing that, you also want to take the outside of the ankle and push it out.
Gotcha.
So you're there. It sounds like it's almost two opposite things, but once you practice, you'll be able to do that, and you'll feel as you do it, your arch will come up.
Right.
That's another way to visualize it is having the arch come up, but you're not losing contact with the ground at either of those points. Really hard.
The arch is non-weight bearing anyway.
So another way you could think about it that is imagine standing on a fitness ball, okay, and you're a little bit off to the side of it, and you're trying to stay on it. So you're driving. You've got to grip it and drive in to kind of stay on that. Same thing. So that's another way to kind of visualize that.
So how does anybody do that
So if
in
you do-
Olympic shoes?
You can still do it in Olympic shoes,
Okay.
but if we're teaching it, we'll have them take the Olympic shoes off.
Yeah, I do find it more common
So
improper knee travel with heels.
yes, so and there's a couple things too. The foot gets a little bit. I gave you the very simple advanced rooting technique, but we really want to be driving the front of that foot really wide, and we actually want to be driving down with towards the pinky toe as well, and kind of spreading that front of the foot out. So you can almost start by planting the front of your foot and trying to spread those toes out. And we've got methods for walking through actually improving that function, because a lot of people, their feet are so cramped up, the front of their feet are not operating, their toes aren't working right. So there's some methods that we do that, but basically kind of spread that out like it's a hand and gripping the ground. So you want that metatarsal also gripping the ground, the outside of the foot gripping the ground as well.
ya.
So you don't want that rolling up like you were saying. Oh, we see that.
Right.
We don't want that. So you're gripping the ground in that fashion all the way across. Now the Olympic shoe, a lot of times, the heel's elevated, and so it's kind of driving you towards the front of the foot and compacting the front of the foot. And a lot of Olympic shoes do have a narrow front, which I don't like. I really love, actually, Pimp Mark's shoe design, But the wide toe box is really important if you're going to lift weight. You've got to be able to spread out the front of the foot. And it doesn't matter squat. I mean, it's just this is just movement in general. And so a lot of
you've been in Chucks for years. When I sent those to you, I was like, oh man, I don't know what he's going to think. But I knew they were awesome. I'm like, I know it's a good product, and I thought that I was confident that you would at least give them a try. And you tried them out. You're like, these are fucking great.
Yeah,
ended up working out really good.
So that front of that foot needs to have room to move and spread wide. And like I said, a lot of people aren't doing that. So there's some ways that we can walk through that. But that's kind of the advanced rooting. And if you take care of that and proper core stabilization, so many things take care of themselves.
Right.
Yeah, Matt Wenning, this week I actually put up a video about, not squatting in Olympic shoes. And he was talking about actually that the foot rolls over and intentionally rolls over. You're talking about fighting that, but still being able to spread the front of your foot out so that you're grasping the...
What's really interesting
we
is
will
every new lifter
we'll let
jumps
people
into
we'll let
Olympic
lifters
shoes.
lift with Olympic shoes.
Yeah.
But when we're teaching,
They just
you've
seem
got
like
to have them off. We may even start with no shoes at all.
They seem like a crutch to me.
Yeah.
It seems like every new lifter just jumps into them.
Yeah.
They're
think
trendy.
They think they just like need them. It's kind of a weird thing, but I don't think a lot of people have mobility. Like people have mobility problems, but I don't think they have trouble getting below parallel.
Exactly. I mean, it's if you have ankle mobility issues, there's a reason for putting it on. I found very few people ever actually need them.
Yeah,
It's just not needed. But it's almost like a religious discretion. So normally I hate saying just don't use it because it's like, oh, you're the guy that does. That's not what I believe in. So you're not in my camp. I'm sorry. Right. So
people get sad.
If you want to wear them, you can wear them. But when we're teaching, you're not going to wear them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're weightlifting shoes, but like in our world, everyone calls them squat shoes.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a real squat shoe. And weightlifters' movement, like I kind of agree, is like their depth is way beyond what we have to go to. Their knee travel's often different than our squat and stuff. So maybe they need it, but most powerlifters don't.
I mean, go ahead and research the injury rates on Olympic weightlifting, and you'll find a little bit on hip and back that is quite elevated. Just saying.
Yeah.
So
right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a tough sport, and the way that they have to move is quite different than what we're asked to do. So, but I do find it interesting that like everybody just kind of just ends up in them. I don't think they even really try to squat in a flat shoe for very long. It's kind of a weird thing. What's going on with your actual lifting? I think people respect you as your new role that you're doing now, but people love you for your lifting. What's going on with your lifting?
my lifting. Oh, I quit that.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
No time for that anymore.
Is that why you're so fat?
Pretty much.
Jesus Christ, you look fat.
It's a new thing. Just focused on eating, and
push-ups and sit-ups like Herschel Walker.
Fat is the new slim.
Yeah. No, it's been something I've been thinking about actually for quite a while. I've kind of quasi-retired, I guess, but not. Mm-hmm. So I have some very aggressive goals in front of me, but they're not stepping on the powerlifting platform. And nothing against that. I mean, I competed for 16 years. I've done my time. I've set records. I've been ranked number 1 in the world for one thing or another for probably like 8 years straight. But I've got, the reason that I know what I know is because I beat my body up. I've broken a lot of things. I'm really messed up. And so trying to perform to the way it needs to be done on the platform and train that way and put all 3 lifts together at the same time is just too hard on my body at this point in time.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I won't ever get back on the platform, but right now my goals is I'm going to deadlift 1,000 pounds. It's going to be a gym lift. And that's all I'm training for.
Cheater.
And then I'm going to wear straps. And I'm going to use standard plates because they're wider, and I'm going to stack them all the way to the end of the bar so I get as much flex as possible, right?
That's the end of this podcast. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
I may even take my shoes off so I get as low as to the ground as possible. I don't care. I'm
real cheating. Sounds like you've been talking to Brian Shaw.
so I'm
wear 2 belts, right?
Hey, whatever, man. So. And then after that, my next training cycle will be focused on squatting 1,000 pounds. I think that should be pretty much in the tank at my current body weight, and just actually only focusing on that. But if I do these things, these are very aggressive.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever squatted, and deadlifted 1,000 pounds.
There you go.
Nobody's ever done
In or
it.
out of the gym.
In or out of the gym, strongman, powerlifting, whatever. Nobody's done it.
Minus the geared lifters, obviously, because there's Andy Bolton.
Did he squat 1,000 in gear?
Yeah, 1,200 pounds.
Well, so we'll take out gear.
Just not in the same meet.
Yeah,
right?
I'm clearly not talking about geared lifting.
Yeah.
Raw. We're talking about raw.
Raw with straps.
Raw, but cheating.
Raw with straps and cheating,
That's right,
right?
make our own
Exactly, exactly. So whatever.
So Instagram lifting is what you're saying.
And exactly, I'm going for the Instagram and
Squat will
YouTube.
be-
I'm going to win the YouTube Olympics.
I'm the chairman
so
of that.
I'm so gonna win
Is
it.
this squat going to be 6 inches high or 8 inches high? What are you going to kind of stick with, you think? How many knee wraps are you going to be wearing? Like 3 or 4? Just a whole leg just all wrapped
Just
up.
one knee wrap.
I think
one knee wrap.
weightlifting just changed the rule. They can mummify themselves. Like they used to have like it couldn't be too high of a wrap or too low of a wrap. I heard this somewhere. I forgot. I was watching a little bit of Nationals the other week. They can wrap their whole goddamn
They
leg.
don't have rules that way, yeah.
No, they used to though. They used to have like you couldn't wrap up towards your singlet or towards your ankle. Now they can do whatever the fuck they want.
So for me, it's just like this gets me jazzed to lift again. Like the last few meets I did, I was going through the motions. I was just doing it because I felt I needed to do it, and I'm like, this is not where I need to be. Like I want to do something that excites me, and this gets me jazzed up. And there's other things on my list too, but these are the first two, and they're the big ones.
Let me just get this straight.
So-
Powerlifting has ruined you, left you broken, and you decided to shift gears and do seminars and become a doctor. And you're still pursuing your hobby
Pseudo doctor
of like making big giant trucks that run over shit all the time.
Oh yeah, yep.
But because powerlifting has left you so fucked up, you're going to increase your squat by 100 pounds and increase your deadlift by 100 pounds.
Well, I have done 944 in the gym on the squat already, so
60 pounds.
so
Makes sense.
56 pounds.
Yeah, there we go. That's awesome. But now we understand the mad scientist.
Yes.
Now it's all starting to make some sense. That's cool. Any goal on like when you're going to try to do some of that stuff?
Training plan for the deadlifts. It was a 9-month plan. We're about a month into it. So
It's like a fucking pregnancy.
so, you know,
First
I don't know if you know.
I hatched the 1,000-pound deadlift.
I don't know if you know this, but it's not going to be an easy task. Like it's one of those like I'm putting it out there and I'm talking about it, but I may like make a complete fool of myself and not come anywhere close to that.
We have fake plates here.
It could happen today.
secret.
It
Be our
could
secret.
happen today.
Oh, I'm sure I'll get the fake plate comments, but
Oh, yeah.
what's funny is, I mean, like so many people have been through my gym, like that have lifted with those plates. I'm like, oh yeah, Ed Cohn, Chad Hicks, Ryan Kennelly, like they can all like, oh yeah, those are real plates. But no, it's a big long training plan because it's a crazy ass fucking goal. I mean, think of anybody that's deadlifted 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
They're close to 400 pounds.
Yeah, they're big,
Like
big dudes.
big dudes,
Yeah.
big dudes.
I saw.
I mean, I'm fucking massive dude myself. Right? But,
What are you
I'm not
weighing
that
right
big.
now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe 275.
I was gonna say probably about 2.
I saw Pete Rubish deadlift 900 in training the other day.
Yeah. I just watched that actually on the car ride
Was it
in.
like 240 or something?
Pretty good pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was great.
it was good.
I just love how fired up the guy
Yep.
gets.
Nah, his lifting's really coming along. So
He gets crazy. Who's your favorite lifter over the years?
Mark Bell.
Oh my God!
Womp
What
womp.
an answer!
I don't know. It depends and varies. I mean, it just.
Who's your favorite guy to kind of watch nowadays? If you are kind of watching anybody.
I don't have a lot of time for watching things, so I really don't have my eyes on anybody right now. But obviously, if we talk about best lifters, I mean, Ed Cohn's my favorite.
Right,
I mean,
of course.
he's incredible.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you guys are sitting here talking about news and what's on TV and stuff. Like I don't.
Oh, we don't-
We
don't know
no
what's
freaking
going on
clue.
either.
I don't.
Don't
I
worry.
don't. I don't know. I'm. The business
own
is
world.
new, and I'm kind of working like all the time right now.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool. How many people are involved in the business?
not that many. So we've got. I have like a half a dozen employees right now. So
Just shipping stuff from your house, or we got a warehouse.
we've got a warehouse, and then we've got a separate manufacturing facility.
Cool.
And then we do a little bit of outsource on some of the machining that we don't have the equipment to do just yet. Very
cool.
Yeah, it's coming together.
And what you have anything out that's new that you can talk about?
What's that?
I mean, I saw you sent some stuff to us. You have some stuff out in the market that's new that you can talk about?
Yeah. So obviously, I guess the Duffalo bar we did release last year.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I don't
Yeah,
know if you know this.
we have
It's
it.
pretty
We love
awesome. Yep. We just released a product called the Boomstick, which was a combination design between
Boomstick.
The Boomstick. Mm-hmm. It is also very phallic looking.
That's what came to us.
Yeah.
Big chrome dick.
And Mark took that home.
The boom dick, I called it. I thought it was something different.
But that was a combo design between me and Donnie Thompson. We've got actually a bunch of
the end of it smelled wonderful. Thank you, Chris.
bunch of physical therapists and chiros and massage therapists using it already.
What's kind of the idea behind that? What is it, 20 pounds or so?
It's 22 pounds. And so it's got three different functions. So it's
kind of looks like the sleeve of a barbell.
So it's the same. Yeah. It's basically the same diameter as the sleeve of a barbell. And I get a lot of people like, oh, well, I can just go down and cut a piece. I'm like, yeah, that's what we start with before we machine it. Like, yes, it is round stock.
Yeah, right.
And then we CNC turn the end so that it's round, so you can actually do the trigger point work with it.
Right.
And then the center it's a knurl, but if you noticed, it wasn't the same knurl as like what's on a barbell. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a softer knurl that's actually specifically designed to grab the skin and twist it up. So it's you can go into not deep enough, so you can actually drive it in so that you're doing working the muscle itself. Or you can go a little bit lighter and then twist it, and you're getting into the fascia and causing a shearing effect, which has a big neural effect.
When it comes to some of this stuff where you're trying to manage the tissues, is it a good idea to get like way in deep and just cause shitloads of pain, or are you better off with something more mild? What's your kind of thought or opinion on it?
It depends.
Okay, so like maybe a little bit of both. For certain
like
things.
The fascial shearing, it's fairly light. You're going to get in enough where you're grabbing, the skin and feel like you're pulling some of the tissue under it, but you're not driving in deep into the muscle.
Right.
For the deeper load, like we use the geisha roller, which is a larger, heavier product. We'll sit in and leave it in the tissue for a long time, from 2 to 5 minutes.
Right.
But for example, specifically when we're using the end of the boomstick, we drive in until you're about a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10 for pain.
Gotcha.
And then we'll hang out for 2 minutes. Oh, it's good times. But you have immediate effects. Did you see? I don't know if you saw the video I did with Stan Efferding.
I've not seen that, I don't think.
So Stan, it was his first time.
And Stan Efferding, I'm not sure
who he is.
How would we know who this guy is?
Can you, Jim, you do some research for us?
I would know him from...
he awkwardly does curls in the back of some of your videos.
Oh, that... Oh,
I don't know where that guy came from.
Yeah, he loves doing curls.
I was going to text him, Stan, can you come do curls in some of my videos?
His picture's only on the wall here, but that's it.
Oh, you've actually got that.
Yeah.
So look, there's 500 pounds on there. That's his first time actually. So we tested him. He hadn't benched in a little over a year.
Looks like an illegal bench, I want to point out.
Yeah. But he hadn't benched in over a year. We put a 45-pound bar in his
who's
empty
that little
bar
guy
in his
lifting
hand.
off for him?
Empty bar in his hand. Eric Spoto, Vanilla Gorilla.
Nice.
So he couldn't get an empty bar within 2 inches of his chest without pain, and couldn't put the dishes away in his house. So there's a text from, just basic stuff. And so I did the boomstick work on him for about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden he had almost full range of motion returned. We got down benching, even like that video of him benching 500 pounds, which was zero pain. Mind you, he couldn't put an empty bar to his chest without pain before this. So pretty dramatic. But the bigger thing, like I showed the text in that video, because that was me following up with him like a week and a half later. And he's like, oh, well, I haven't really got in to do some upper body session because I kind of, I don't really care for it. And I'm like, I don't care about your lifting, Stan. Like, can you put the dishes away? And he's like, yeah, I can put the dishes away. And I can pick up my kids. It's awesome. Like, that to me, that's awesome. That's because he was pretty limited. I mean, he has a shoulder impingement and a labrum tear, and it was just really affecting his life, not just his lifting.
Yeah.
And we were able to get him out of pain pretty quickly. And he's a guy that gets work done on himself, so he has ART done on his shoulder every week, and it wasn't getting him to where he needed to be.
What is the difference in tissue when you go from not being able to, bring a bar down without pain to being able to successfully bench 500 pounds? What's kind of the difference of before and after? What's actually happening?
So what we did there is basically hit various triggers in the shoulder that were keeping the shoulder tight.
Portal. We found a portal.
But basically released it so that the shoulder wasn't tight, so that it has more freedom range, creating more space in the capsule, which is why it relieved the impingement issue.
Right.
But that's it. I mean, we just relieved the restriction around the shoulder. Those things that happen from like benching and other stuff where everything starts tightening up to try to stabilize and protect that joint.
Gotcha.
So if you're not moving cleanly, this is one of the things that can happen. That tightens up. So we just release that and allow the shoulder to move and move freely. So then a lot of the pain that was associated with that, because it was basically the shoulders getting pulled real tight and getting maybe pulled out of position and out of centration, and then that's causing, these issues to develop, or, creating that, it running into itself.
Gotcha.
So.
And then what's the other thing you sent us? Big, like 150-pound, whatever, big cement thing.
We call that the geisha. It's a big load. So normally I shipped it to you with cement in it because it would have had to come with instructions. And I went, God, that's going to Smelly's gym.
Yeah, he's not gonna
instructions.
That's what we kind of figured.
I'm
Marcus was telling me.
I'm like, all right, guys, let's go ahead and pre-fill this one for these guys. But you can set it to weigh a different amount of weight, so it's really easy. It costs a $3.60 bag of concrete. You fill it up, and it's basically the same thing where we put the load on you in a relaxed position for a greater length of time. And so a lot of people don't realize this about the tissue modification that we do via foam roller work or stretching or all this stuff. That it's not actual tissue modification. It's all neural. And so the brain
What does that mean?
It means the brain's making the changes.
Okay.
So you're applying a stimulus, directly to the area, but that stimulus is sending a signal to the brain, and then the brain is sending a signal back that's saying, oh, hey, it's safe to play, let's relax, let's do whatever it is. And so if you think about that from that aspect, like lying on a foam roller, you're sending, you're still tight, you're still tense, you're still controlling your body, you're doing this stuff. That's going to send a completely different signal.
It's hard to relax.
Than you being in a fully relaxed position. And obviously, being in the tissue for like 2 minutes on a scale of 7 to 10, you can't get that with ART. You can't get that with you can't get that with other methods. So this allows us to be able to send a different signal than we're able to send with any other tools. So clearly, you're going to get a different response.
Yeah. You mentioned the boomsticks, a 7 out of 10 out of the pain to get the change. Is the geisha the same idea?
No. So the geisha allows you to work issues in a relaxed state, but also get into areas that you would never be able to get with a lot of other devices. With more load. But yeah, it is a fixed load. You would have to change. The device to get a different load.
But I mean, the pain levels less, but you can still get changes.
It depends. It might be a lot for you, Mike.
I'm pretty sensitive.
I'm just
very
saying.
sensitive.
Kelly Starrett worked on my hip a few years ago, and exactly what you're talking about happened. And it was during a seminar, and he was kind of showing everybody like, hey, he's lost all internal rotation of this side of his hip or whatever, and he's showing everybody like, look, it's stuck right here. He does a bunch of shit to it, dug in there, did a bunch of other things to it, and then he has me lay on my back, and he goes to kind of do it again. And before he did anything, I was thinking, like, don't move my leg that way. It doesn't move that way. And he went, whoosh, and he moved it internally, Not a crazy amount, but way more than it's ever moved before than I've ever seen. So my brain was like, hey, wait a second, motherfucker. And then my leg was able to go through that range of motion because kind of what you talked about.
Yeah.
He was able to kind of clear some of that out of there.
Yep.
My brain allowed it to happen rather than me freezing up, because normally that's probably would have happened if I was still banged up or still injured in that area.
So you're talking about following up with actual tissue changes after something like that, because that's a neurological change.
Yeah,
and you're talking about what happens physiologically with the tissue that it makes it more elastic or whatever.
that's just it doesn't really make it more elastic. It's just a change for the body to let you know that it's safe. So there's
come off tension kind of deal.
I mean, it's actually I just recently went to a seminar with Dr. Charlie Weingroff, and he articulated it really well. He gave the example of someone doing the splits. And so a lot of people, they try to open up more for, let's say in our sport, being able to do sumo deadlift, right? And so people are stretching and trying to open the hips up, right? There is no muscle that actually connects one hip to the other.
Fair point.
Okay. The only thing there is just fascia, which is embedded with a lot of nerves, right? So the only thing limiting, besides, if you physically can't be due to pelvic structure, which is nowhere near where people are limited to, but people are stretching and opening that up. They're not actually stretching anything.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Chris Bell talks about the fact that when he had his hip surgery the first time that they actually filmed the whole thing, as soon as he was out, they could move his leg all over the place. The places that he couldn't move it himself when he was conscious.
Are there
exactly? So that's all neural.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's pretty incredible when you think about it in that fashion. But yeah.
So you're selling these tools on your website. How do they use them? You mentioned instructions on how to fill the cement, which we're morons and couldn't do. But what about how instructions, even just how to use it? If you have shoulder pain or you have low back pain or hamstring pain or quad pain or whatever, is there kind of like very right and very wrong? Or is it just kind of, hey, I feel tightness here, lay this sucker on there for a bit?
A lot of it is like, I feel tightness here, let's lay it on there.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's some basic videos on our site. Cool. Donnie's also got a bunch of videos as well on different ways to use those.
Yeah.
And then we're doing more in-depth, like really, assessing and, doing more in-depth work, like specifically like, I've got a shoulder issue. Here's the 4 different triggers that we're going to hit.
Gotcha.
That'll be on our movement portal. And usually when you sign up, like if you get the geisha, you're going to get a free membership and a free month.
Very cool.
With that, so you've got access to those videos.
Cool.
But
yeah, if you have like quad tightness or something and it hurts even just to squat the bar, just lay that bitch on there for a little bit.
It's just kind of like what you would do with the foam roller.
Very
right?
cool.
Right. So
same
thing. Hey,
but it actually
here's
feels
the
good.
issue. Let's work through this.
Cool.
Yep. And so we've got some very basic protocols of how to work everything through the front, how to work everything through the back. All those are posted publicly as well. So.
Mark likes it from the front and the back.
Oh yeah, that's I'm big in both spots.
Huge.
So those are some recent stuff.
Very cool.
We've got newer stuff on the way. I mean, we're getting into we'll be getting into more advanced tools, like you were pointing out. My super bench, super lift, like all this stuff. I mean, those are things that are on the way, and they'll be even better as we go. We're basically having the equipment manufactured to my specs to be able to build the tools that we want. So they're going to be some very unique stuff that nothing else out there is like, because nobody has the tools to actually make it.
Is there any
yet.
desire for like side projects that are unrelated to the fitness industry, because you have a hobby of building these fucking tanks or trucks or whatever the fuck it is you're building? Do you have any desire to kind of ever get into anything like that, or is that strictly just kind of a hobby?
That's strictly hobby. I mean, it. But you gotta be prepared for end of times, man. Everybody needs a rig on 47-inch tires with 4-wheel steering with a 50 caliber mounted on top.
Agreed.
Like,
And a killer go back.
Is this not normal?
I've seen Zombieland. Zombieland.
I'm just.
I think
to me, it's
Walking Dead. I mean, it can happen.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen. Well, I think we might have.
Man on Earth?
I think anything worth doing is worth overdoing. You got to take it to the extreme and just like go over the top.
If less is more, think how much more would be.
Exactly.
I don't know if we talked about this on air or not, but me and Mark have a lot of conversations about zombies and vampires and stuff, and I feel like you would be the guy to answer them. Are zombies fast or are they slow? Because every other fucking movie, they're either fast as shit or they're really fucking slow. What's the issue here? Fast or slow zombies?
Damn, you stumped me.
That's good, right?
I don't know, but
but you're prepared for both.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to handle them either way. So
typically, it seems like the vampires are usually fast.
They're really fucking fast, but sometimes
vampires are fast.
I Am Legend.
I mean, the vampires I've run into are pretty fast.
Is it I Am Legend? Those zombies are pretty quick.
Yeah,
those are some quick zombies.
Yeah, World War Z, they're pretty fucking quick.
World War Z, they're fast as shit. They're like chasing down an airplane.
28 days later, they're fast too.
Dude.
Vampires love to fuck, but no one would ever fuck a zombie. Right?
No
There's
comment.
a lot of sex in the vampire stuff.
It's
right?
true. No one's fucked a zombie
But
that
no
I'm
one's
aware
gonna
of.
fuck a zombie. Those poor zombies. Maybe that's all they're trying to get.
They're just sexually frustrated, chasing you down, chasing down that dick.
You see?
Yeah, makes sense actually.
Yeah, I think there's
I never
something to
thought
it.
about it.
I think
that
we
way.
should write a
I never
book.
Thought about it that way.
They're
But
just-
Mark, to answer
Well, this guy's lived off the
and-
land before. He could handle a zombie apocalypse.
But to answer your question, I mean, it's anything I like to do. It sounds silly, but I want it to be world class. I want to be the best. When I did my work, the work that I did, I was the best at what I did. And with my lifting, I want to be the best. But at the same time, I realized that I can't take over the world in every fashion. So I'm just going to focus on one.
That's a
and
bunch
the
of
rest,
bullshit.
The rest will just be hobbies. So, but when the end of time comes, I'll have a seat for you in one of my war rigs.
Oh, I
So
appreciate that.
they are war rigs.
I don't need a helmet. My head's big and fat enough.
More,
to be able to
we
handle.
actually it's asset acquisition and acquisition vehicles.
Whoa.
Yes. There's important things.
Yeah, I agree.
What are we going to live off of? What kind of food we got? You have that worked out yet?
Fast food restaurant in a bunker.
I got a stockpile of protein bars and Monsters, and
There you
we're that's all we need.
We're ready.
I mean,
We're ready to go.
keep it
to
simple.
Yeah, exactly. I like it.
You don't have to worry about it. You get a giant vehicle with 4-wheel steering and 47-inch tires and a 50 cal on top. You're going to take everybody else's food. You don't have to think too far.
That's true. This is very true.
After being put through the ringer of life, living off the land as a kid, living in the woods and things like that, and then turning into an elite level powerlifter who has multiple world records, and now kind of on a path to be, I guess you'd say, like a doctor that's squatting doctor, whatever you want to call it.
No.
Maybe
that's why it's mad scientist. I'm just
there you go. Now on a path to be the mad scientist, teaching people about movement and teaching people how to be out of pain, and still wanting to kind of set world records, even though they're going to be cheap lifts done in your gym.
cheap lifts in the gym, baby.
Yeah. And, now you started your own business and all these different things. What are some final words of encouragement that you have to people out there who are kind of thinking about starting their own thing or thinking about doing their own thing, starting their own gym, starting their own business, starting their own whatever?
So, that's one thing when I talk about like my life story and stuff that I really try to make sure people understand that you don't have to have like this epic tragic story of overcoming to be able to develop the discipline and the drive to do this stuff. It is very simple. It is deciding who you are, and that means who you're going to be. Like nothing. You're not a victim of your circumstances. Or you ask somebody, "Hey, who are you?" and they want to tell you like all the tragic things and this happened to me and this is why, and decide who you're going to be and become that person. Take the steps, live that. And so it's just a matter of like, making that purposeful decision, knowing that you own your life and you're not a victim of any, circumstances or things that have happened to you or whatever. That is it. Own it.
Right. I think it's a good point. Rather than just letting shit happen to you, go out there and make a difference and do things.
So my story is not a story of like, oh, I overcame all this. This just shows you how much you can accomplish from coming from absolutely fucking nothing to, I decided I'm going to be who I am, and I took the steps every day to become that person. So it's not a story of what made me driven. It's a story of it demonstrates to you what you can do if you decide to live in the same manner.
It's more that you set that stuff aside.
Absolutely.
And just put it in the past, and so I'm just going forward. You're not letting it define you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right, I think that's it. Where can people find you?
KabukiStrength.com. So if you want to know where all my social media is, it's linked on there. You want to know where the movement portal is, it's linked on there. New website we just launched, multi-author site. So you're going to see a lot of clinicians associated with performance, strength coaches, athletes, all logging on there or writing articles on there. So we're trying to give back and promote the philosophy and approaches that we have.
Very cool. I think that's it for us, right? Anybody got any other questions?
No.
We're all good? All right. Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. I'm at Mark Smellybell on Instagram and Twitter. Later.
At Silent Mike with 2Ks, Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Jim McD, STTV. Everywhere that I want you to find me. Follow the show on Instagram at Mark Bell's PowerCast. Our thanks to HowMuchYouBench.net, ThePowerMagazine.com, 8manstrong.com, CavemanCoffeeCo.com, and Bodybuilding.com. Mark Bell's PowerCast is a production of SuperTraining.tv.
Move better, train smarter, and get stronger with our game-changing and innovative web portal using evidence-based principles. And as a special offer for PowerCast listeners, you can get 50% off initiation using coupon code PowerCast. That's all one word, PowerCast. Go to www.kabuki.ms. That's KABUKI.ms for movement systems.